annoy any of my forefathers, don't do it. Otherwise, something will fall on you.
It's almost like an extra layer of conscience that you've got.
Right.
So let's start with, why don't you tell me, like, sort of talk to me who you are, what you do.
Sure.
Let's start there.
Sure. Okay. In short, my name is, my short name is Natano Fa'anana. I'm a circus director and circus artist and performer. My professional career started with Polytoxic, then created a company called Briefs, and now more permanently, a co-director and co-founder of Casus Circus, and that is a company where three of us directors, that's Jesse, Lachlan, and myself, create work that is typical to that of contemporary circus, that is indicative to Australia's style. However, we do tackle content that is important to us, i.e., social commentary, and we love to have. All our work has a commitment to putting culture in it. So a lot of dance, a lot of crossover fusions of different types of genres, i.e., street dance or cultural dance. Yeah, a bunch of things.
Yeah, awesome. And you won awards too. Don't forget that bit.
Yeah, won some awards.
Just a little thing called a Matilda.
Yeah.
First of all, talk to me about, what is it like to be in the arts right now? You know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. There's a whole bunch of change, uncertainty, and there's a lot of people that are feeling really quite stressed and quite unsure about the current situation. What is it like being in the arts right now?
So circus is a minority of the arts already, and I'm a minority of Australia in terms of culture. I feel like I'm built for quite being resilient and resourceful. So now that this pandemic has hit, to be honest, it's not too far different to what I'm used to. We, in the independent world, it is really up and down, lots of ebbs and flows, and I am quite blessed and grateful that my career and my company has thrived in a successful way. And when I say successful, I mean we make the art that we are passionate about, and we get to showcase and tour those around the world. And but that isn't to say that it's consistent. We have contracts that we'll be discussing right up until the month before, only to feel that pulled. And to be honest, with the pandemic that's happening now, there's something comforting in knowing that this is what we are not working with now. And so what I've done now is gone, okay, that's 6 months without touring. There's always plenty of other things to do. We are now reevaluating the structure of our company. We are focusing on body maintenance, because when you're on tour, you don't have the time to look after your body in a way that you can when you're resting, like at your own home. So these last 2 months been a lot of the training that we do in isolation. So we do Casus, we regularly catch up over Zoom and train together. So our training now is about keeping your body fit, but not in a way in preparation for a show. And physios, osteos, all of that sort of stuff now. Generally looking after your house that you live in, because you live out in a hotel most of the time. And on top of that, we're actually making shows, like researching shows, rather than going into a space for 3 weeks and going bang, 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 and then get on a plane. We're actually going, well, let's research this theme or this theme or this theme. And we've got 6 months to do that. And then when we have the ability to be in the space together, we have a lot of back knowledge to work from. So it's actually been quite an interesting time for us, and sure, it has its challenges, but I actually think we're making lemonade.
I really love the idea that you see opportunity, no matter how small. You see it and you pursue it and you follow a path to it as well.
I don't know how to say this without like devaluing the stress that some artists are having, but we're creative people. And so when things go not to plan, you adjust. You use that creativity, that gift that you have, to make good of a bad situation. And for me, it's been kind of fun. Like 6 months of our touring just went out the window, gone overnight. Uh, um, and and so when that happened, it wasn't like, oh, woe is me. I feel like this was an opportunity to go, okay, like dust yourself off and look at the situation and look at the things that now have been presented that are positive for the company. And I'm really glad that we did that early on. Like we might have had 2 or 3 days where we were like blown by the fact that 2 years of planning had gone out the window. For sure, that's heartbreaking because that's a lot of talking and a lot of working. And in the independent world, um, we play in a field that is with the big guys, so we tour along massive companies, but we're only a small team. However, here we are. Let's be creative. Let's figure out what the situation presents. And I got to say that I had nothing to lose. So Jesse and I, Jesse Lockie and I just went, well, it's not even a new field. It's a new game. So I just rang people and went, look, don't know what's going to happen, but do you want to work together? And for all the 20 calls that I made, 4 came back and they were all positive. So yeah, we're in preparation for the new world, whatever that is. And I just hope that should it be back to some kind of thing that resembles theatre world again, where we have an audience and light, sound, and a crew and team, at least we're in a position that we have something in place.
So, how do you think circus and I guess coming to circus late is a different proposition to so many of the Brisbane circus artists who literally have been doing it their whole lives? How has circus and being a part of that community shaped your perspective on the world, do you think?
Uh, well, look, it was a big game changer for me. It was life changing. I was a person prior to circus, a person that enjoyed life. I was very happy. I lived in Sydney and life was great. Um, but I was a person that would start a project and rarely finish them. I got to say that when I discovered circus, it it just resonated for me in a way that it ticked all the boxes. I fell in love with it because it defied a lot of these what's the word, myths, ideas that age means you can't the normality of age was you can't do this, this, and this, and this when you're over a certain age. And the body, in terms of body types and image, you can't do this because you look a certain way. Well, circus diminished all that. Circus said you can be whatever you want to be, whatever size, race, age you are. And I still work with that to this day. I love this community that embraces that. And it was almost like I found my people. As artists, our responsibility is to tell stories or to shift the terrain of our society through our art. And I love that. I feel really so excited and blessed that our tool is to go out there and tell these stories. And people listen. Around the world, we're talking about culture in Australia, and people are going, wow, that's amazing. I mean, it's contemporary, hence abstract, but it creates this conversation. So yeah, I live and breathe circus. Probably a little bit too much. I will admit that. There was I went from person who starts and starts a project never finishes to OCD project maker.
Yeah, and so the other question I really wanted to ask you about was one of the things I also really admire about you is how connected you are to your family and how you connected you are to your culture. And I would love to know how you think that has shaped the way you view the world, being a part of the community that you are, being a part of the family that you are.
Basically, daily my the core values that I have are my family and my culture. Um, and my parents brought us over from New Zealand to have a better life, and we found that here, and due to that hard work, I've been given this opportunity to be an artist, and so bearing all that mind and drawing inspiration from the culture that I've and lived in and been taught as a child and now as an adult, it's just it's ingrained in me. Like culture, family, it's just my very being. So it's not so as an artist, I just go, I'm just going to use that and honor that. After I belong to Samoan, long line of Samoan cultures, strong females, and Matais chiefs, and so we have so many things to tell, whether it's literal telling or just embracing that and knowing that it's there. That informs all the work I make. I basically just go, if the work I'm doing or the thing that I'm doing is going to annoy any of my forefathers, don't do it. Otherwise, something will fall on me from above.
That's awesome. It's almost like an extra layer of conscience that you've
Yeah,
got.
right. That's right. Yeah.
um, so you work a lot with young people and you use circus as a vehicle to do that.
Mm.
Talk to me about that. And it seems to be quite important to you to do that work.
Yeah. I think that also links back to the sort of the cultural thing that I was talking about before. In terms of Samoans, we're very, very proactive about making sure that knowledge is passed down to the young people um, in a beautiful and safe way, and we enjoy that process. So now belonging to circus community, I just continue that tradition. Um, Also, young people, children are amazing artists in their own right. They're so not weighed down with adult garbage, life. They have this. The youth means that they just have this amazing world where they can create and be whoever they want to be without limitation. And there's something challenging about being a teacher and a trainer, and an artist who wants to make sure that they don't lose that. So as a trainer, you've got to go, okay, for safety, you have to learn how to do this, this, and this, and this. But I certainly don't want. I certainly make sure that the child remains a child in terms of being a creator, because to be honest, every time I do work with young people, I'm directed. I'm being told about creativity or reminded about creativity, because youthful creativity is just so amazing.
That's awesome. So I'm really conscious of time, and I know that you're a busy guy. You're busy creating. um, what would you tell people who are in the creative world right now who might not be able to see the opportunities that you can see? What advice would you give people who might not be feeling as optimistic as you are?
Oh, look, I say this with absolute respect. Um, I come from a place as someone who has to fight a lot to get things happening. Like I said earlier, you know, circus is a minority sector, and I'm also a minority. So with that comes a whole lot of obstacles. But if I was to dwell on that, um, I wouldn't move very far. So in terms of people who are stuck with the weight and the sadness that comes with this pandemic, I've got to say, get up, brush yourself off, get your job done. Like it's it's as artists, we you just can't sit back. Um, and when you have dusted yourself off and you're back on that floor and you're training and working towards anything, don't strive for that end goal. Don't strive for that show. Just strive for that basic thing. Like what I did. It was hard the first few days in Zoom training, but um, and I'm used to throwing people, catching people, but I don't have that option. So it's by myself. So like, okay, I guess I got to learn the handstand again. Um, and so it was tuck jumps, and it was, oh, sorry, tuck ups, lots of those. So baby steps, just, and enjoy them. And if you start not liking them, put it away, play some music, have a dance, and try something else new. Yeah, so dust yourself off and do things that are fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that idea. You just break it down and make it yours. Own it.
Own
Own
it,
each
own
little
it.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm learning to
Yeah.
juggle and I'm terrible, man. I am so bad.
Oh, you're not alone. I think it's witchcraft, really.